Hello. You know what time it is? Time to breathe. Time to respirate properly. Inhale. Breathe in and out, right? Breathe in the energy. Recycle the energy. Breath. There's energy in it, whether you look at it etherically or physically. Molecules are held together by electric bonds, right? Covalent. What's the other one? There's two other ones. I can't remember them right now, but you get the gist. Anyways, I have a little strawberry on my nose. I just finished lunch or an early lunch and dinner, because I extended my fast till, was it 2 o'clock, 1:50? Anyways, I've been meaning to put another meridian out there, and I'm doing it seated, so the phone might be moving around. But anyways, I wanted to wish you all peace and balance, because I think that's a good motto, or pragmatics, practical living, right? In all aspects of life, so we can, function, right? When we live extreme, we don't have balance, whether it's activity, personal time with someone. Like, it's good to have a little time apart. It's good to, got to work a lot sometimes. Sometimes you don't. I say manifest it and develop a life that you can have balance. Work that pays well enough, or do your own endeavors and reap the 150% of your 150% effort, right? And all the other minutiae you can develop and learn outside of that. But being happy with yourself, right? So let's get into it. I'm going to do another meridian. Like I said, this is just me developing my interaction with you and share what I've learned, which you might already know some of this stuff. Maybe it's another approach or avenue, or somewhere to think on how to do it in another way. Anyway, either way, I'm going to share. So let's do the other digestion. One of the digestion aspects is small intestine, and it's on the upper torso. So it's really easy. I can do it here, hopefully with the phone in my other hand, like I'm doing. Um, so when we think of digestion, small intestine, right? That's where acids are neutralized, either from the food material or bile duct that's released into the, I believe, the from the gallbladder, and the into the as the food is emulsified, or acidified and broken down initially in the stomach. So as it's dumped into the the small intestine, the bile will then, the detergent of bile will break down and neutralize, because it's really alkaline, will neutralize the remaining acid that wasn't differentiated by the foods. So less acid. And you don't want acid in your small intestine. That needs to be a higher pH. So something over 7, like your mouth, same thing. Stomach is acidic, it's your first line of defense. Hydrochloric acid, muriatic acid, we call it hydrochloric acid. But you see it at the stores. We have it in our stomachs. Also, a lot of people think, I'll add this in. I learned this from naturopath, and there's been other people who've suggested, and it's probably on the internet too. I know it is, because I found it to verify this. But I experimented on myself. So reflux is usually you're eating too much, and it's neutralized the acids. And people say, oh, well, I need antacid. Well, the mechanism of the sphincter, I don't know if I want to call it the epiglottis, that's where it more separates from the trachea to the esophagus, from breathing tube to food tube, right? That flap on top of the stomach, um, it's an orifice, right? like the other orifices you're thinking, your mouth, right? Mm-hmm. And the other orifices, there's several, top and bottom, the distal, or what is it, proximal, no, superior, top, inferior, lower, right, of the stomach. So when you have high acid, the sphincters stay tight. That's the mechanism. I don't know the finites on it, but that's the way it works. So when you eat late, you eat a bunch of foods that lower your acid concentration, and you go and lay down, or you eat a bunch of foods like you do like a pasta, Italian food or Mexican food where you have a bunch of sugars like tomato sauce and pasta and all this and meat, you usually want to recommend it. I would take a digestive enzyme to help, because you go out and you overeat because you might have not eaten all day to, like Thanksgiving, you hold over. So trying to make this short, but I'm long-winded anyways. This is the way my mind works, unfortunately. So I'm going to curse you with it. Anyways, so when you lay down, you'll get heartburn because the acids will seep up. Now, the reason why the acids come out, one, you're not sitting upright. Two, you shouldn't be eating that late. You should be moving around like, say, a walk, or, I'm not saying stand around till 11 o'clock at night, but eat proportionate to your activity level. So if you're not going to be doing much after, make sure your meals are smaller. And don't eat so big. Don't eat so large, right? Don't eat till you're eating faster than your satiety sensation will happen. So you feel full. So when you dilute the acids with food, and people go, oh, it burns. Well, yeah, because it's still acid. Okay? So when it goes up your esophagus, it's going to burn because the lining, you don't have a mucosal lining like you do in your stomach to protect from those acids. That's why your stomach you don't feel get hot. So the point is if you eat enough that your acids can handle it, then you won't get reflux. If you do, add a little apple cider vinegar. You've heard about this. I would use an organic apple cider vinegar, not distilled. If you have to, do it, but you dilute it, not full straight acid, like a tablespoon to 8 ounces. Okay, and then rinse your teeth. But you want to acidify the stomach. I would say do some kombucha, or if you're doing salads, make sure, I don't recommend a lot of oils, but hey, if that's what you feel you want to do, there's something you can read on that, between your sugars and your fats. That causes a whole other problem with diabetes. Anyways, so acidify the stomach, the sphincters will remain tight. And don't lay down. What are you laying down right after you eat for? Stay upright, eat at a certain time that you have time to digest, within an hour or two, at least an hour or two before bed, right? And if you eat a big meal, that's on you. I would recommend doing a digestive enzyme with a HCl, which is hydrochloric acid additive. And your enzymes are just going to help you assimilate the food more. A lot of our foods are devoid of it because they're sanitized and, hit with UV vegetables to kill the bacteria, but they're also killing all the bacteria that create the enzymes to help you digest the food. That's why things turn brown or milk curdles. That's the bacteria process producing enzymes. When you destroy that, guess what? When you ingest it, you don't have the enzymes to help you break down the food. That's the way it works. Acid just breaks it down into a liquid form, right? So the bacteria, that's why when you eat raw vegetables, it's easy to assimilate. We can't really eat raw meat the way the industrialized animals are, and that's a whole nother argument on, whether it's moral or if the animals are actually healthy. Like I said, there's a lot of organizations out there that state standards, which, I don't know, the demographic of health, I don't know if it's contradicting or what, but I'm not going to get into that. You can look around and do your own research and see. Anyways, back to this. So now we understand how acids work, and we want to support this lower intestine. And so when you do these meridians, there's an energy force, electromagnetic field, whatever you want to call it. prana, Reiki. All this stuff is part of that. Okay, you can specialize it, whatever. But like I said, this channel is to practicalize, allow you to be basic, supportive care. Okay, like I said, touching your skin is like dry brushing or stimulating the lymph. Okay, the corpuscle nerves are right under the skin. I think that's the shallow nerves. It's good for your skin too. Motivates circulation. So that's why I say drag your hand across the skin. It allows the energetic side and the physical side to feel nourished and benefiting yourself. I hate saying it, but it's loving yourself. Okay, this is all about loving yourself and taking care of you, not running off to go work and make somebody else rich. You got to supply yourself with love. This will allow you to be healthier and take care of family, your partner, your fur babies, whatever term you want, all the people in your life, right? And if you're not healthy, how are you going to work a longevity? And you want to go to the doctor and take a medication? Well, this is all therapeutic. I'll just say that. Healing and therapeutic. Read what those mean. Okay, so we're going to start. So we're going to start on the pinky, like, affluent people who drink, right? So you start the pinky. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start the pinky, go up the back of the arm. You see that crease, that shadow of the vein in my arm. Go up the outer side of the elbow, up all the way on the side of the neck and on my jaw. So I'm going to show you now. I'm going to set the phone down. I should have done this already, but we're going to put it over here. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to start here. Start pinky, right? You're going to come up, and I want you to think about it. Oh, let's do the electromagnetic charging. You feel that heat? That's not just heat and friction. It's electromagnetic. Sun is electromagnetic. Okay? Don't believe me? Do your research. So you warm up the hands. You want to feel that heat. You'll feel it. That's energy. You're activating that. Okay? Going to start here. Follow it up and think about the small intestine and say it, small intestine. You're going to come up the side of the neck, to the middle of the cheek, and to the ear. Okay? Do it again. I do both sides just to do it. I reckon. They say do it 3 times, but I say do it once. You'll be good. I'm just showing you again to there. Right? Again. Here. Come along. See, it's just a pattern. You can look up on YouTube. See here, right there in front of the ear. So, same side here. Come along here, up, say small intestine. You can even affirm it and say, I'm balancing the energy so my organs communicate with each other. Because that's what this is. This whole path right here is what you would see people palpating or putting acupuncture needles here or pressing. You're activating it. Anywhere you go along here, it would be like a small intestine, would be like a SI. And look at the things. Like if it's kidney, it'll be K1 to K24. K1 starts at the middle of the foot where you start the pattern. K24 ends here at the kidney points, the tail end, the distal, the furthest point. That's anatomical talk, right? If you look in a medical diagram of an anatomical posture for x-rays or anything like that, it's distal, proximal. Proximal's close, distal's far away. Inferior is low, superior is above. So it's not about performance. We just turn it into that. But you could say it that way because it's higher and lower. But those are anatomical terminologies. Yeah, I took classes, blah, blah, blah. But I like to read. A lot of people who will see this, they didn't know this about me. Okay? But I'm not out sharing. Now I'm sharing it. Some people know it because I figured I'm a talker. So I'm going to put it on in the video. But anyways, small intestine. Right? If you have digestive issues, this is the perfect one. Any of these, the stomach, gallbladder, large intestine, you do it. Pancreas, I don't think there's a meridian for the pancreas, but it all falls in line with the liver. The pancreas is attached. So you go up, same side, go up here, right to the cheek, middle of the jaw, right in the hollow webbing, the webbing of the cheek, and then to the front of the ear. Okay? And think about it. Think about where your small intestine is, right here, right under your stomach. It's right there, right in the center. Okay? Now, like I said, think of if you have digestive issues, if you got GERD, if you got all these other things. Think of it that way. Think of it that you're connecting with it. Like when they say mind over matter, is exactly what it is. Remembering that when you have those synchronicities of you think about someone and you get a phone call, that doesn't give you an idea of how things work. You have more power than you think. Anyways, I know I rambled, but I put a little anatomy 101 in there because I took it in college, and I have the what do they call it? What do they call it? Anyways, yeah, a little tired. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Transcript. So it's called a transcript. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you, and even if one person watches it, I feel like that's what I'm here for, is to share and incite healing or heal people. And if I can do one, whether 1 million people are doing this online, we all have our own style, and some people will like mine. See, I'm in a tank top, and yeah, I'm wearing hematite. It's supposed to be the energy of blood. It's supposed to match the blood. We come from the earth. It's undeniable. Our bodies come from the earth, so we got to regulate it that way. But your vital sources energize the body. And it's up to us to maintain that electromagnetic infrastructure, right? The bonds between our cells. Everybody thinks it's just chemistry, right? Physical chemistry. Well, like they say, if you're as above, so below, spirit to physical, right? Feminine and masculine. If you're not balanced, you crave one too much. If you're a man and you're not balanced, you're going to be chasing women, and that's all you're going to think about, right? Same with a woman. If a woman's too feminine, she's going to be craving men too much. So if you're balanced and you equalize those, no, that doesn't mean you're less of a man because you have more insight to certain things. We all know this. Us men were taught to be warriors and workers, laborers. And to be told that being stoic is good, but communicating and expressing yourself is another. And also finding someone that you get along with, right? You can't expect every approach is going to work because each person's different in their experiences. But anyways, I hope this helps, and I'm going to send them out whether you watch them or not, because it makes me feel good. And if I can make you feel good, because I've experienced all these things, trying to be programmed to be a 350-pound man and have muscle coming off, having a neck wider than my ears and eating crazy amounts of protein, and to each his own. But there comes to a point you got to recycle back to basics, and that's why I do this. So if people did get caught up in these programs and being a consumer, why not find your freedom again and not worry about what everybody else thinks, not compare yourself all the time. You only got to compare yourself to telling yourself each day is going to be a better day, and be positive. I'll give you a little story. Yesterday, I picked up I've had it for a week. I picked up a cheap barbecue. I knew it needed an igniter, so it cost me it was a $30 barbecue. I ordered the igniter, which is the little button you push that ignites the little sparker, right? The contact to ignite the gas. And yesterday I walked all the way around, going places. I wanted to do a lean meal, so I wanted to do shrimp and potatoes and some broccoli. And I didn't get to use it because the hose I had, and I had a plan, right? I had it planned, and it was going to be great. And it didn't happen. Went back and forth to Ace Hardware. Didn't happen. They didn't have the hose. I got to return the tank I have full of gas. So it's probably going to cost me double. And I didn't get the gas can, right? So I only cooked half of my food and ate it on the stove. So what do they say? Lemonade. Make lemonade from lemons. The food was still good, and I said, okay, it's all right. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But what I'm getting at here is, you make plans and you got to adjust them. Just like we made plans in life, and we think going to certain places we're going to get taken care of, but it's just a perpetuation of a system that you ingest poisons, and there's other professionals that read books that are just more poison. And you ask yourself before you, it's not called age, I call it exposure, right? You're not aging, you're exposing yourself, right, over the years. And you can go out there and see examples of people living extreme ways to eat and whatnot and get your health back. I know mine's working. I'm still working on things, and that's okay. I've never guaranteed any of you that I'm flawless, because there's different ways to live. But as like I said, I know I'm talking for 21 minutes, but anyways, peace and balance, and yeah, I hope this helps. Is it guten Tag, or buenas tardes? Is that what it is? Midday? All right, folks. You have a good one.